Welcome back, everybody, to Sanity Loss. I've been watching a lot of book videos.
Book videos?
Yeah, little TikToks about books.
Oh.
There seems to be a... I don't know how much you guys read. So, I know Elizabeth reads the young adult. I don't know outside of that. And
I read boring professional things outside of that.
yeah, and then I don't know what Nite and John read, if anything.
Well, I just finished listening to The Wheel of Time again,
Oh, nice.
Nice.
which is one of my favorite series of all time. And on a completely side note related to it, Nerdforge just released a video where they took all 14 books and rebound them into one single massive leather-bound volume
Wow.
that they sent to another YouTuber. That it looks insanely good, like amazingly good.
I saw that at work, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to send Nite this, and that's as far as it got.
I watched Nerdforge and I love it. I really hope Brandon Sanderson gets to sees the at least the final product of it,
Nice.
because it's just so fantastic, and I know he would appreciate it, having worked on the finish of the series.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just so good. And then I just started listening to the Dark Tower again, because another one of my favorite series.
Nice.
I tried to read that, couldn't get into it.
Yeah, we were reading it together for a little while and
Yeah.
had a hard time getting into it as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely a slower burn, but I very much appreciate how many cross ties it has to all sorts of stuff, especially other King works, but it cross links to other King stuff constantly, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard really good things about it. It's one of the reasons that we started reading it.
The book I was reading, like when I was reading it, the Dark Tower, I think like the author's open is like, Stephen King just like, everyone says they love this first book. I hate it because it's one of my first books I ever wrote, and there's so many things that I wrote that are better, like literary examples of like how I've grown, but everyone wants to talk about this dumb book I wrote when I was starting to write, and I hate it.
Yeah,
But
you can definitely see the development through the entire series, but yeah, I think it takes a little bit to, I want to say, even into book 2, is I feel is where it kind of starts setting its hooks deeper and kind of draws in more. But you also have to be in the mood for a long adventure too.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yep.
yeah, well, that's a problem that I'm having with a lot of books that are coming out now, because there's like not a lot of just standalone titles, and I'm like, I'm not interested in reading a 30-book adventure. Like I just finished this one book. What was it called? Oh, the Scarlet Alchemist. And they left it open, but I think I read where it's going to be a duology, which is just 2 books. And I'm like, I can dig that. It's the easiest way to explain what that book is about is like Full Metal Alchemist set in ancient China.
Interesting.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it. It was a fun book. But though, like this is more my complaint about magic systems is like, in the beginning, it talks about like there's a price for alchemy, like like equivalent exchange. If you watched or read Full Metal Alchemist, they carry that over, but like there's a certain point where it's like where that rule doesn't seem to be a hard and fast rule for heavier and for like heavier alchemy. And so I wish there was more of a cost. I don't know. It's the one of the reason why well, there's multiple reasons why I can't get into Harry Potter, but it's one of the things that bothers me the most, where Harry Potter's just like Scooby Doo, and it's like fires laser putty out of his wand or whatever, and I'm just like, what is the cost of what you're doing? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, but then again, it's children running around with guns.
Yeah.
That's all Harry Potter is. Instead of shooting bullets, they're shooting spells. Okay, that's all it is.
Gun magic
Anyway.
confirmed.
Yes, it is the best magic. Anyway, I wanted to bring this up because there is, in at least the TikToks I've been seeing, there's quite a split between a book that I heard a lot of people talking about it. I haven't read it, and I have no desire to read it. It doesn't interest me. But it's really funny because the book is called Fourth Wing. And it cracks me up because there's so many people that you can tell that they're restarting their hobby of reading, or it is the first book that they read that wasn't part of school telling them to read it.
Yeah.
And there's these people that are just, oh my goodness, this is amazing and everything. And then there's people that read.
Yeah.
And everyone that just, they read heavy fantasy, like high fantasy. They're like, that almost everyone is just, this book is trash.
Yeah.
and I have no desire to read it. I have a friend who read it, and it's all that. But anyway, I'm not here to rag on a book that I have no really huge desire to read and want to talk about it. I want to say it's interesting how books are now getting forced along like Hollywood movies are.
What do you mean?
So there's, due to the impatience of humanity, they want writers to write faster.
Oh.
And so the writers are writing faster, which is not allowing them to, I guess, grow the story in an interesting way, just due to the speed. Mm-hmm. Some people can write as fast as they are and still have a pretty decent story. Like, what's his face? We were just talking about Stephen King. He writes pretty much like a book a year.
But he's also been doing that for
a long
time.
Yes. And I remember I was watching an interview where he was saying, no, I have a system.
But he also has a massive amount of world already built that a lot of it is just telling stories from that world and expanding on bits of different parts of the world that, you know, it's when the world is already there and built, you don't have to do as much work to build the world to write the story.
It is why I build my own worlds when we play tabletop games, because I don't want to read all other people's worlds. I don't want to remember random facts about other things. That's why I made my own.
Yep.
And some people, that's more work. I tell them, shut up. But yeah, it's. But pretty much there's a lot of books that are coming out that there was an article on it. I didn't read it. But I saw people talking about their opinion of it, and I just haven't had a chance. I keep forgetting where the article's found, but they were saying just due to the fact of how fast novels are coming out, there's spelling errors, there's mispronunciation of words in other languages that should have been caught in the multiple drafts with their editor.
Those are things that, like, I understand a missed word every once in a while popping up that didn't get caught through the editing process, but if there's any kind of prevalence of that, that's the quickest way I'm going to put down a book. If I'm reading a book and there's multiple spelling errors and grammatical things on
Yeah.
one page, that book's getting put down and it's not getting picked back up.
Well, it just like takes you out of it, right? Like if
Exactly.
especially if you're reading a like a fanciful book where you're in the world, is like it just ruins that whole experience as soon as you like catch that mistake. Yeah.
I will say I am reading a fun book right now, which is essentially a murder mystery. Let me find, there it is. Called The Bone Orchard.
I think I've heard of that one.
By somebody, Sarah A. Mueller? I don't know how to say her last name. In short, the whole book is the king dies, the emperor dies of this fantasy town, and he calls the mistress of this brothel, who's his girl pretty much, and he's pretty much tells her, someone killed me because we have like eternal juice that keeps everyone, like it's part of the world, and so the king was on it, lived like well beyond what a human should, but somebody killed me. If you can find out who did this, you can have your freedom. And so she is the mistress of this brothel, but all the other workers there are ghosts that the mistress grew. So they like grow bodies, and then
Oh, weird.
it's these ghosts that they put in there. I have a theory of what these ghosts actually are, but I haven't gotten that far, and it's probably a spoiler. But it is
Probably.
It is interesting to read a murder mystery from this perspective, as the same time as they are like, we're going to plan a coup. So, I don't know. I've been having fun with that.
Nice.
But, yeah, I'm just stalling at this point. So,
Why would you stall? This is the fun part.
it is fun until I'm like, I know what needs to happen. It's just, oh my goodness. It's it's my brain saying, oh, well, I guess we got to dive into this now, right? To get on doing this thing. No, it'll be fine. No, we're just going to get on to it. There.
Yeah. It's my life.
I just realized I'd hit the music and then I never did this.
I was gonna say, I don't hear anything.
This. There. Now you can hear it. Some sweet jazz, which was definitely not the song I was trying to find, but that's what happens when you forget to read your notes.
Whoops.
So anyway, just a quick recap. Our three investigators pretty much were searching for the Concrete City, just west or east of Nanticoke, Pennsylvania. The twins, August and Adele, known as Deli, find some graffiti that says Trilburn's Road Circus as they look in there. As David, following some animal tracks and taking some scenic photographs for, I don't know, his mom or somebody, who knows? Maybe his dad, if he's still alive.
His own collection.
Or maybe he wants to... A what collection?
His own collection.
Oh yeah, he wants to make a calendar.
Maybe.
So he's taking a picture there, and as he kind of crouches down, he hears this song. But just imagine there's a filter of crackly, kind of like a tiny speaker where it's coming out of, but it's coming from the upstairs of the 4th building. David, what are you doing?
Well, so as I finish taking this picture and hear this kind of weird music starting, I'm gonna take a step outside of the building, kind of experiment, see if I'm still hearing it, and probably look down the line of houses and the line of these buildings and try to see what the others might be up to at this point, and probably see Delion stomping her way up the line in front of these buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Do I still hear this music at all outside?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you hear it outside.
So seeing Deli on the way, working her way up towards this building, David's gonna kind of look down, kind of have this kind of look of concentration. He's listening to it and look towards Deli. He's like, Deli, come here for a minute.
As she's like walking up, would I hear it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once you kind of walk past building 3, you can hear it.
Okay. So as she's like walking around building 3, she's like calling out to David. David, do you know anything about the name Trilburn? And as she's like saying that, she like catches the music and she's like, do you hear that? Is that jazz music?
David, kind of seeing the initial pause that as she registers this music, is going to just kind of note to himself that yes, it is legitimately there. So basically using her reaction as a cross-check that it's not something
crazy.
Well, that it's like a real sound and not something that's imagined, because imagination does weird things, but shared imagination is not as common. So that's kind of why I wanted you to come down this way, just to make sure. And it sounds like it's coming
Real
from
quick.
upstairs in this building.
Deli, can you give me a luck roll?
Sure.
Elizabeth likes this music way more than the normal music.
Yeah, well, until you asked me to do a luck roll, I failed it. 77 over 30.
Yeah, so David, as Deli waltzes on over, she stops and stomps and crushes the wolf print.
Well, this would have been after I took the picture anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
That's why he's taking a picture before he did anything else.
Just stomp all over
He saw
it.
how she drove.
Part of
I'm
the idea is as much of the untouched landscape as he could kind of find, and with the nice background and the kind of the death of the wild or something like that. I don't know. It seemed very picturesque in my mind. So yeah, it sounds like it's coming from upstairs. I don't know what it is yet, but
She pokes her head in the doorway, and as she like pokes her head in, she's still talking to David. She's like, so you didn't go upstairs yet? Was it
no.
playing when you got here?
I'm doing the kind of a cursory kind of evaluation of the building before see what we're working with before we kind of figure out any more detail that we want to dig into. But you mentioned something about, you said Trilburn?
Oh, yeah. Do you know that name?
Well, it sounds familiar. It seems like something that might have happened. I don't know. It's been a long time since I heard that name related to anything, but.
Well, the Trilburns were a family of revivalist evangelicals who traveled all over the country, but one of them, Matthias Trilburn, he ended up getting involved in the Eye of Ophidian, and no one really knows what happened to him. But Augie found words hidden in the graffiti over on buildings 1 and 2, and it says Trilburn roadside or road circus. Now, Trilburn might have been involved with the Eye of Ophidian, but Buster was the one involved in the circus. So the fact that Trillburn had something to do with the circus is very new and very
wait.
odd.
What circus?
Buster. Uncle Buster.
So with hearing this, you might see David just kind of do a little bit involuntary shudder because of the stories that he's heard about his past and the past of his family.
Are you okay?
There's a lot of history with that name.
Uncle Buster?
Uncle Buster and Trillburn related to each other somehow?
David,
That can't be.
we've been training together for so many years now. What do you mean there's history with Uncle Buster? How have you never told me this before? This is our mission.
I'm not supposed to talk about it with anyone. It took me it's a family thing. It took me a long time to even get anything related to it at all, and it was under the direst of oaths that I would not talk about it to anyone that was not already there or related to it somehow.
So Deli walks up to him. She's like facing him, and she like puts her hand on his shoulder, and she says, "I will never ask you to betray a family secret, but your story is safe here. And if you know something about Uncle Buster, that is why we are here."
If there's stuff related to Uncle Buster here, then that means that we're probably in the right place. That's almost guarantees we're in the right place here. That's not going to show up here by accident.
Just
Okay.
at that moment, August comes around one of the corners of the building. Is kind of like looking around in the air. He's like, "Do you guys hear music?"
Deli like looks over. She's like, "Yeah, it's coming from upstairs."
Have you gone and looked yet?
No, I was just filling David in. He knows. Well, yeah, I was just filling him in on Trillburn and Buster and the circus.
August notes her like catch, but doesn't say anything of it, and it's like, "All right, I'm gonna go see what's with the weird music."
Well, this is weird stuff. Let's actually stick together on this, and David's gonna like we'll go together on this one. Well, when the weird stuff happens, you don't go alone.
August just kind of shrugs and was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Let's go."
That's also said with kind of like maybe a hint of like old family advice, like when the weird stuff happens, don't go alone. Like it's like you don't go alone when things start getting weird.
Yeah, so Deli's still standing there with her like hand on his shoulder. She was like talking to August, and so she like turns back around at his like comment and like gives him a smile, and she's like, "You never have to go alone." And then she like grabs his hand and like turns around to walk into the cabin or the structure, whatever it is.
David's like, not really what I meant about we don't need to hold hands, but whatever, and just follows
Let's drag him in.
You just hear him muttering under his breath, "It's not what I meant."
So, I'm gonna guess that just the way you guys are narrating this, that Deli is not being quiet at all. So,
I mean, I'm not being like loud, but I think like I wouldn't say that I'm like stealthing.
I imagine the way you're playing this, that Deli doesn't walk, she skips.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
I mean, thus far it seems like Deli does not have an off switch to speaking.
You know what this is? It is Elizabeth being tired of playing a sad old
Yeah, I was
lady,
gonna say.
and now it's like,
I
I'm
need to,
gonna do
let
the
loose.
exact opposite.
Yep, exactly.
I
David
played
is
too many
also
serious characters.
You played
David-
one serious character in this game.
Well, in this game, but I've played serious characters other games, and I need a break.
David has historically tended to work alone, so he's not really used to having a team that he's in. So he tends to be more on the quiet side anyway, for the most part. But
So
he's
David
happy to-
doesn't take his own advice. He works alone.
Well, he's not usually working on weird
I'm
stuff
not-
either. Until
Yeah.
now.
My cat is stuck in the sewer again. That's good for it.
Dad said never go down there.
I never saw it, but now I'm trying to remember the line.
We all float down
wanna
here.
balloon?
We all float
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah. So you guys make your way up the stairs. August, are you going up there as well?
Yeah. Well, I was
Yeah.
kind of leading the
Okay,
way.
Yeah, so
okay.
I
So
would
who's
say
going?
yeah,
Is
so-
August going first, then Deli, and then David being dragged behind?
I would imagine Deli was first. The way I pictured it was she had like popped her head in to look and was standing right next to the door. So the way that I picture it is, she doesn't like stealthily walk into the cabin, but I don't imagine her like skipping up the stairs. So she probably like walks in
Okay,
with
cartwheeling.
Yeah, she probably walks in with David, like takes a look around, and then like starts to like a little more cautiously like head up the stairs. Like again, I wouldn't say that we're stealth rolling. She's not stealth rolling, but she's also not running up the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So I'll be first.
Okay, then you're kind of dragging David, so then August, you're bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
Things that people always like to hear.
I
The
know.
keeper finding out what's
the order? Uh-huh.
I need to know for no apparent reason. Okay, so you kind of go up there, and you kind of... It's like kind of this open landing. Not kind of. It is an open landing. All the same concrete. There's dust kind of all over the place. You... pretty much the staircase goes up along the right side wall. And you go up there, and it's kind of an opening. There's a door on your... Going forward, it looks like there's two rooms. One at the end near the left side, and then one kind of just on the wall that's kind of... so like you go up the stairs, and then there's like a wall. And then there's a door that leads into a room there, and then a room on the other side. So it's like it's just a little den area.
Okay.
But you can hear the music is coming from the far room.
And there's nothing in the den. It's just an open room.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just dust. There looks like there's like, I don't know, tree branches and like debris and just maybe some like just scraps of clothing, or not clothing, but like of bedding or something like that.
Yeah.
David, you can put together that this might have been where the wolf may have made its den, but there's no signs of, like, there's no footprints or any like movement or anything as you guys go up there.
Does the music seem to be getting louder as we go up the stairs?
Yeah, it's getting louder and louder, and it is definitely coming from the room farthest away from you.
As important factors to how this presents. So as we get to the top of the stairs, David's going to kind of look around, and with the rooms, are we basically looking through one room into into a doorway of the far room, or are they kind of like, is it like a hallway that goes to the other one?
It is like kind of think like like a 10-foot by like 15-foot kind of like opening that's there, and then the doorway is kind of, it's not straight ahead. It is like, if you look straight from the staircase, it's actually to the right, against like closer to the wall, the front wall of the building. So you can't look into there right from where you're standing.
Right, we'd have to like turn around the corner. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, so as Deli like comes up the stairs, she's gonna just like kind of snap a few pictures of the like, you know, area where it looks like she wouldn't know, I guess David hadn't said anything about a wolf, but like whatever this like nesting bed is, she's gonna like take a picture, and then like I think the closer she gets to the music, the more like slow she's gonna be. So she's kind of like, you know, crouched down a little bit and like moving towards the doorway of the room where the music is coming from, and she wants to like peek her head, like just her head, like just kind of like peek into the room.
Yeah. You see a pretty much like the side, like where the window is starting to fall apart, but you see a window. Sorry, not next to the window. You see like a one of those cabinets that have a radio built into it.
Okay.
That is lit up, like it has the cabinet lights on, and you can hear the music, and it is extremely loud in this room.
Okay.
Are there
So she like peeks around. Does she see anything else?
In that room?
Yeah.
It's just that.
Okay.
are there
okay.
lights or anything else in this building?
No.
So, like, are there light fixtures that have like broken lights or anything in it, or is it just like?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
She's gonna walk in and like walk over to the music cabinet and just kind of like study it for a second. Does she like feel any like, you said we had Geigers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's gonna like pull out all of her instruments, and like she's like seeing if anything weird happens, or if she like senses, this is where she's gonna do her like, you know.
I don't know if Geiger would be the right term. Whatever. I'm
The
trying to
ghost
remember
hunter meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're thinking like the
Geiger
EMF reader type of
radiation.
things.
Yeah, I know it detects radiation, but then we just kind of kept moving forward before I could fix my thought.
Yeah, I don't know
like
what
the
those are called.
EMF
You're thinking like
Yeah.
you're thinking like
EMF reader.
type
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it is an old one where it's got the dial.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. So she's like pulling that out, and she's just like kind of like closing her eyes and trying to like sense if she feels anything. So like the guys probably just see her like staring at this music cabinet, like with her eyes closed and her EMF meter out.
So David's gonna
August,
see it. Notice this, that she's got her eyes closed, holding this meter. It's like, that meter's not gonna do you any good with your eyes closed. What are you doing?
As soon as you speak, the music stops.
What did you
Oh, thank-
touch?
She like looks over her shoulder. I didn't do anything. And now she's like super and like examining the radio cabinet.
Give me spot hidden.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the floor or anything like that that's
Okay. That's a 21
that
under
David would
30.
notice?
Let me resolve Deli first. So Deli, with your 21 under what?
30.
30?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking all over in this, and you are scanning all over it, and then you find the plug, which isn't plugged into the wall. In fact, it doesn't even have like one of the prongs on it. It is ripped off.
So I just imagine that she's like behind the cabinet, and the guys just see her like step out of the cabinet holding the plug, and she looks at them with this like look on her face of like some fear, like this is kind of freaking her out, and she's like, it wasn't plugged in.
Well, now everyone gets to roll sanity.
Oh man, episode 3.
I mean, David
Two?
was not surprised by this particularly, because just the whole building doesn't seem to have any kind of power. But that is also a 24 under 63.
I'm 29 under 40.
Well, she failed at 55 over 45.
Okay. You're just gonna take one. If you
One.
fail, you take one.
Okay.
Which, yeah. So, I don't know, how do you think that plays out in just that?
Yeah, 1 point of sanity. Well, I think realistically it probably like shakes, and maybe like August sees this, maybe even more than David does, but like that, like she tries to hold on to this sense of like being open to the supernatural is like a warm, inviting thing. And it like shakes that for a second. Like it, or maybe not even for a second, like it just shakes that like, oh, I'm not safe here. And so like you see this like outward facade of like the bubbly, like open, everything's fine. Like you see that shift in that moment, and like it probably would look like she's gonna like quiet down a little bit, or like she's like not as overtly bubbly, like a little bit more cautious than what she's been.
Okay. Yeah, August, you can definitely take notice of this. Of probably a little bit more sensitive or a little bit more aware than David would have been.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, August would catch that and kind of walks up next to her and kind of whispers, "Are you all right?"
And she's like looking at the plug, and she like jumps a little bit when he like comes over to her, and she just like shakes her head, and she's like, yeah, I mean, we knew. She like looks at him like looking for reassurance, like, we knew there was going to be weird stuff here, right? Like we knew that. That's why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Like, for all we know, this thing holds some sort of a residual charge. We don't. Somebody could have been in here messing around beforehand. Like, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah. And she like just very kind of like aggressively like throws the cord down. Like, yeah, you're right. And kind of like walks away from the cabinet a little bit.
I want to say at this point during the day, like you guys have been here for maybe an hour 20. It's starting to it's like twilight right now, so the sun definitely setting earlier and during that time, and also in the mountains. You guys are still able to see, but inside the buildings, as there's no light source, it is going to be more and more difficult to see. But you guys, knowing that you're going to have to stay the night, all have flashlights available.
Yeah, okay.
But you guys can still see outside, but it is dimming. Also, just in the reports that Tim would have told you, is that there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason when the lights show up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it said it's February 29th, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, so the theory of going on this specific day was leap year maybe something will happen. So that is why it's this night. But yeah.
So did David see anything like on the floor before everybody disturbed all the floor or anything?
No.
Okay.
You didn't really see anything.
So David's going to get a picture of the now quiet radio and try to get as much of the cord and stuff in the picture as he can to show that it wasn't plugged in, and just kind of get a general sense for what it was, and then also get a picture of the room as a whole as we kind of leave this room.
Alright. So you take the picture. August and Delia, are you guys still kind of staying in that room? Are you?
Yeah, I think she would also, like, she's still holding her EMF reader, so like is kind of like walking around it. Does it like ping anything?
Nothing extreme. It could just it kind of fluctuates between like 0 and 1, which could have just been
Yeah.
all that. But since you had your eyes closed when the music was playing, who knows what was going on there? As Caleb takes this picture, I want both of the Lockharts to give me a spot hidden.
Not my strength, Johnny.
That's fine. I got this.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
99.
I got a 93.
You're still looking at the cord.
Yeah.
I got a 43 under 85.
All right. So, when the flash went off, you were standing pretty much the broken window frame. Pretty much out of the corner of your eye. What did you roll? Sorry. What'd you roll?
43 under 85.
43 under 85. Okay.
Not hard.
Yeah, so out of the corner of your eye, you see a reflection into Building 3. When you look out of there, you see that the broken window is able to look into this broken down, like the wall on Building 3, at least the wall facing you guys, is pretty much all crumbled. But there was a flash that you saw, like a reflection of something from the camera out of the corner of your eye into that building.
Am I close enough that I can like shine my flashlight out the window?
Yeah.
And like light that area up? I will do that.
All right. So you go and you shine your flashlight in there. You're kind of just moving it back and forth, and then you almost like, oh man, nothing's there. And then it's your flashlight kind of just quickly goes over this one part of the wall, and you see the reflection that's almost like kind of like when animal eyes when they catch the light, but it is much taller than an animal. And then when you put your light back on there, it's gone. Like you don't see really anything reflecting there.
Remind me, did David tell all of us about the paw prints he saw?
No, he did not.
Okay.
I thought I did that before I actually.
Oh.
Yeah, because I did
I think you may have told
check.
Deli.
Well, I did like an initial check around the buildings, and then that's when I went to investigate Building 4 in more detail because of the wolf tracks.
Man, I couldn't. In my head, you didn't tell them. I thought you just kind of saw it, and that's why you went into that building.
Yeah, I don't think you said it out loud.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like I remember maybe saying something to Deli, but I don't think August.
I think you mentioned it to Deli when she came over, but August.
Yeah, I don't
wasn't.
think I explicitly said that they look like wolf tracks, but like I think I mentioned that there's just look like a bunch of animal tracks and
something. Yeah.
not really anything of particular note, no particular signs of any human activity, just a bunch of animal tracks, I think is what I'd phrased it initially.
So when August sees the eye shine, he would recognize what that is. He's got, he seconds or has a second study in biology, and so he's kind of like, sweeping with his light, trying to see if he can catch them again, and says to Deli, did we think about maybe there's something living in these houses?
Uh, like, like, like what?
I think I just got eye shine reflecting my flashlight. I,
Are you like Deli's eyes get real big? Like this is like real freaking her out.
so like, I mean maybe it could have just been like a cat or a raccoon or I don't know, but the positioning wasn't right. It was higher than it should have been, which I don't know. Maybe it was just on climbing the wall or something, but it definitely I got eye shine. There's some sort of animal over there.
The only
August,
animal,
if you
the only animal tracks that I saw were, I didn't see anything that looked fresh.
August, if you want to do just kind of take a focused look on that area, you can just focus on there. Give me another spot hidden, but I'm going to need a hard success from this distance.
Right.
It would be...
That is a 21 under 85.
Yep. So you're scanning it through there, and then all of a sudden, like, your light makes a shape out. And then as you kind of focus in and hone your vision a little bit more in, like, the failing light, what it looks like is that somebody graffitied a human-looking thing onto the wall and then took glass and pushed it in for the eyes.
Well, that's
Like,
real creepy.
yeah, it is like kind of like a shadowy kind of, like, not shadow, but it kind of looks like almost like a jello mold of a human. But like it is just it's not there's no really descript features. It's kind of all like dark navy blues and blacks, and then as you can see, kind of just these almost dollar store gems that someone just shoved in there.
Is this something that's on like the outside wall of the neighboring building, or
No.
is it inside?
It's inside. It's so
Part of the wall
there's-
is like collapsed, so you can
Yeah.
like see inside.
Yeah, where you can pretty much you see it is pretty much it looks like the top floor of this building but flipped.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I would imagine that Deli is like looking over his shoulder or like around him, like trying to look with him. Clearly, her spot hidden is not as good, but like trying to see. And I guess, if August is like showing it to her, she's like trying to see what he's seeing.
So
Yeah, no, if he points it out, yeah, anybody can see it.
yeah, I mean, so when August sees this, he's like, all right, so I got good news and I've got creepy news. Good news is I don't think I saw an animal, so I think we're good there. Creepy news is somebody painted a human form and put glass where the eyes were on one of the walls in that building.
Yeah, so like Deli's like over his shoulder, like kind of behind him, but looking and like can see it. I'm imagining you're like shining your flashlight at it as you're saying this.
Right.
She's like, Oh, that doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, it's not great.
Uh,
Well, we didn't
well,
come here for a spa.
it does kind of feel intentional, right? Like, it's right here in the window. I guess we're supposed to go look at it, check it out. That's our job, right? That's our job, right? That's our job. That's our job. We have to go. We have to go look at it.
Can't you just take some pictures of it from here?
No. 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 It's too
The
dark.
lighting was better, maybe, but
Too far.
Well, why don't we just, you know what? Let's do this. Let's set up camp. Are we staying in one of these houses? I don't know what the plan is, but why don't we wait until it's light out tomorrow and go look at the weird, creepy man painting with the glass eyes?
well, I think we should probably at least do kind of a walk around at least the lower floor a little bit of each of these buildings to get a sense of what we might be dealing with. And I think I'm going to go upstairs in that building 3, the next door building, and I don't know, take a closer look at this and see what's there.
Or hear me out. We go back in the car. We drive away. Just saying.
I thought you were Mr. Science. You can't explain this with your science?
I mean, creepy kids painting creepy things on the wall is pretty easy to explain, but that doesn't mean I want to be here if they come back.
So you're telling
Guys.
me you're scared of some creepy kids' artwork.
Yes.
And you joined this team.
Well, joined is maybe a, loose term, but that's a story for another day.
Far be it from me to suggest you might be a coward, but I'm going in that building to take a look. I wouldn't mind having you as backup, but you do you.
David truly is Tim's disciple.
Yeah, Adele looks at August and she's like, we can't leave him. We're a team. We're a team, right? We can't leave him.
I was just like, all right, you guys lead the way.
David's already walking towards the stairs at this point too.
Yeah.
As
he jumped out of the
said-
second floor.
And
opening.
August is not going to be left alone in this one creepy building, and so is forced to follow.
And then the radio starts up again. Hey! Just imagine it starts up. Hey there, August. It's me, Uncle Buster.
Gosh.
No, that doesn't happen.
Well then,
All right, so everyone's going up, and I'm assuming David's going first.
yeah. So David's walked back out to the front of the building and walks over to building 3. Shines his flashlight around the bottom floor to see if there's anything.
So
On the bottom
I
floor
will
initially.
say that you guys, you do have flashlights, but then you also have kind of like a lantern kind of option as well, like one of those flashlights that could cast
A wider.
more,
So
a wider
let's say
thing.
that
But
Deli
it's up
has
to you
the
which one you want to
lantern.
use.
Yeah, Deli will use the lantern.
Okay. So as you go up the stairs, and kind of sorry, the first floor, almost the same as the floor in the third. Sorry, the first floor in the third building is almost a copy of the fourth, but reversed. Except there's nothing in here. There's graffiti and everything, and as you guys are going through, you can clearly see spray painted on the wall that the staircase is connected to. Pretty much, it says like the staircase to awakening, and but it's like crudely written. It's not fancy. It's just some kid just. It looks like some kid just wrote it on there.
So, seeing that, David's going to take a picture of that for their record as well.
Yeah.
And just kind of file it away in his notes. And
Deli's like, well, that doesn't feel good. As she like looks at it.
And so you go upstairs, and pretty much what you couldn't see from there is that all the walls are cleared out. There isn't any rubble. Pretty much it looks like as one giant empty floor plan, or empty space, except for some columns of the concrete walls that are there to support the ceiling, that it doesn't break down. And so, actually, that wouldn't make sense the way you saw that thing. So there's maybe on one of the columns that was still standing up there. That's where you see the one. You were able to note the wall where the glass shadowy creature spray painted on there is. But as you walk in, and the light is casting on all different walls that you couldn't see, there's more of these things, these pictures, just spray painted on there. Same thing, these glass little dollar store charms put in where the eyes should be. Some look like they're holding hands, some look alone, some just are just staring in there. But as you go in there and walk further in, you see spray painted on the floor of the second floor is a large door. It is not a real door. It's not a door sitting there. It is a crudely painted, spray painted door. And then the text of all who enter are invited. I need a sanity check from everybody.
interesting. That is a 6 under 63.
Cool.
Yeah, you're fine.
David sees it's like, okay, whatever.
To be fair, he saw an Oxman cut a bus in half, so it's
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever, spray paint.
This is not really David's first rodeo in terms of the weird.
It's surprising you have as much sanity as you do. How about the Lockharts?
I got a 38 under 44.
Okay, you're fine.
And I rolled a 99 over 40.
Oh, right. So originally I was gonna just take two. Actually, I'm gonna roll a 1d4 for you. I don't have one near me. Do you have a 1d4 at hand?
I do have a 1d4.
Okay, roll that, and that's pretty much how much sanity loss you're gonna have.
1.
There you go. Could have been worse, but
With a fumble, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So something which you already were not feeling good at this.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much seeing now that there's more of these things, and now just some weird door. It is starting to shake you to your core. But how is this showing in August right now?
I think he would be getting more vocal about leaving, I think. So like, looking at all of this, he's like, all right guys, like this is certainly, we were just sent to scout out, right? We can we can certainly report this, and that should be more than enough. We should probably just go.
I mean,
Go ahead.
this does appear to be pretty much what we were looking for.
Yep. So let's take some pictures and let's get out of here.
So Deli is like, I'm assuming we're all like standing looking at this thing, and so she just like reaches out and like grabs his hand and like squeezes it, and she's like getting some of her like courage back. It's like that thing where like you both can't be scared at the same time, so like him being scared means that she's a little braver.
Who's the older twin?
I actually imagine, August, you are.
Yeah, we didn't actually talk about
that, yeah.
In my head canon, it was the same way, but I'm like, I don't know. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. So she just squeezes his hand and she's like, "It'll be okay. We can go. We can go. But this feels important, and we're here, right? We're here and we're okay. So let's get this information and then we'll go." And she like releases his hand and like walks closer to the door.
Yeah, it's as you walk over it, it's a door painted on there.
So
Yeah, so she kind of like crouches down just to kind of like see if she can, I don't even know what she's looking for. Maybe like some, like if there's anything like etched into the floor, or like signs of like anyone being there, or just even just like, she's just kind of like observing it, and she's going to take some close-up pictures. But yeah, she's just kind of like inspecting the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and while she's doing that, David's also taking pictures of these weird figures painted on the different columns and other surfaces of this room, and then also joins Dell at the door, and looks for any signs of how this spray painted door would potentially open, if there's any kind of signs of this mysterious door opening at some point, or. And you said it was cleared.
Yeah.
Is it like cleared of all is there like any dust or anything else in this room at all?
There's like dust and stuff. I'll say like, not Caleb, you dumb character. David, as you're looking around and taking pictures, you notice that there is what looks like a scorch mark on the ground, as where someone could have built a fire. It's a little bit in front of the door, and then you see there's another one, it does line up with the edges of the door that is painted on there. Give me a spot hidden.
That is a 45 under 75.
All right. You, as you're kind of inspecting this as well and looking and maybe making note of the dust, it seems that there's less dust collected near the edge of the door that is facing towards these two scorch marks.
So these two scorch marks are on one side of the door?
It is. It's the spray paint of the door here, and then about 2-3 feet away from it are these kind of burned scorch marks.
But they're both on the same side, like one at the top, one at the bottom, sort of a thing on one side?
They're not on the door. They're
Well, yeah.
Right, but they like line up.
yes. Sorry, yeah. They line up with the bottom of the door.
Oh.
So either side of the bottom,
The
kind of a thing?
yeah. So
Yes,
the short
okay.
end of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And yeah.
Is there any signs of dust anywhere else in the room being disturbed?
No. Except for where you guys walked.
Yeah, obviously.
And Corey, you said you're inspecting the paint and taking some close-up pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So as you get closer and everything, you see that, you take some pictures, but it almost looks as if the paint is still wet.
Like it glistens.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna reach out and touch it.
Yeah, it's not wet. It's it looks as it is, but when you touch it, your fingers just come up dusty.
Yeah, so she looks over and she's like, Augie, come here. This is in your wheelhouse. Look at this. Does it look wet to you?
So the kind of curiosity outweighs like his better sense, and so he kind of goes over and looks at it. I don't know if I can do like a chemistry check to do like figure out like what the material it is or its properties or
Yeah, go ahead.
etc. All right, let's see. Get a better roll. That is a 66 under 70.
Yeah, it's visually it definitely looks wet. And as you touch it, it's definitely not. It is. What kind of chemical work was August doing? Like what kind of what was his field of study?
I mean, I don't know that I got super into it. He had he majored in chemistry, was working in chemistry. I didn't really get into like the specific component of chemistry.
No problem.
But,
this doesn't seem to match up with any paint or any chemical compound that you know of. As basic chemistry, I don't know if this is basic chemistry, but the joys of having stinking player characters that are way more intelligent than the people, well, the person running the game, is that nothing seems to match up with why this is glistening. Like the closest thing that you could think of is if it was a glossy paint, like that it was given a sheen when dried, but the fact that it still looks wet and it isn't is concerning, but not to a point of I need to roll sanity on this. It's just more.
Yeah. So August kind of relays the information. He's like, it looks like paint, but this isn't any paint I've come across before. It's the visual consistency of it looks wet, but it's not like this. I mean, maybe it's some kind of paint mixed with some other chemical or element that I just haven't run across with. But as far as I know, paint doesn't do this.
Did it look wet when we came in initially?
You didn't get close enough to find out. This is more as you get close inspection.
Yeah, I was trying to see if it had like if it reflected off in any of the lights in it.
If it did, it wasn't
noticed.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, David, did you like communicate what you found or saw, or not yet?
I'm gonna assume that in this room, unless you guys say you're not, you guys are kind of
sharing.
You guys are all sharing each other everything.
So, are we assuming that this is a door, like a real door?
No, that's stupid.
I mean,
And Deli looks up at David and says, "Do you think it opens if there's fire?"
it looks like there's. It looks like there's some sort of rituals that have been done with this. Whether it actually opens or not, I don't know. It seems like it. Whoever put this here certainly thinks that it opens, but without knowing the ritual, I don't know if we could actually open it if we wanted to, and I don't know. Even trying to open the door, seeing if that's what it really is, seems like a really bad idea.
I want to also share. Oh, go ahead, finish what you're saying.
There's something feels wrong about this, but I don't know. I think we should get our pictures and probably. I'm sure this is what we were sent to look for, and I think we should get our pictures and probably leave. I don't think we necessarily want to stay here.
That is the first smart thing anybody said all night.
Yeah, and this point it's starting to get dark.
What about the lights?
What you're? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought you were
asking
asking
them.
about the flashlights.
Yeah, no. I'm asking
No,
them.
no, they're still working.
Yeah.
With all of these figures that are painted and the glass on them, I suspect that the lights may just be related to those. And even if they're not specifically those, we don't want to be here if those lights actually show up. If it's not that, we don't want to be here when those lights are here. Certainly not in this room.
Deli turns and takes like one or two more pictures of the door, trying to like get the sheen of the paint, though being well aware that might not happen. And then she stands up. She's like, "Okay, then, let's get out of here."
Okay. And you guys pretty much you guys make your way back to the car, and it's night came fast. Where it was twilight to I don't actually know when the sun would set. I'm just assuming now.
Probably early, like 4.
Yeah, I was thinking it's closer to like 4:40, 5 o'clock, and it's I know here just doing my walks at 4. It's
Yeah.
like I get blinded by all the car lights.
Yeah.
But just being away from civilization, the only light sources are in the car, or your guys' lights, and you guys would just get in the car and gonna call it a night.
The only other thing I can think that David would be thinking about here is potentially just getting in the car, getting the car turned around so that they're kind of ready to leave, and possibly just wait there for a short while to see if any other kind of things happen that they can see from the car.
I want to just remind you, just to make sure that you guys were clear, if I didn't communicate the mission clear enough, is they wanted you to observe throughout the night.
That's what I thought. I couldn't remember, but I thought we were supposed to stay here all night.
You guys can leave if you want,
that
but
doesn't mean
I'm just...
Well, when they found that stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean that David's willing to.
Yeah.
He's seen enough things to know that you don't mess with the stuff like this.
And I will also say, the stuff you're finding now was not in any report.
Yeah.
That was given to you.
That's part of why, clearly this is not something that was already known, that they were sent in to document just this stuff. So it's clear that would be what they were looking for. At least that's in David's mind. This is clearly what they were looking for. And
So what I'm imagining, at least for Deli, is that, we get back to the car, we get in, she gets the car turned on, and everyone kind of like, lock the doors, whatever, right? To feel safe. And so right now, the car is facing the structures, right? Because we pulled in. So to like get out, she would have to turn around. So she like gets the car on, locks the doors, we're sitting there. And she like sighs and she says to them, "Listen, I know this is freaky. I know it's uncomfortable, but we were given a job. And isn't this what this organization is about? Our job was to stay overnight. I don't think we can go. We can stay in this car. We can keep the doors locked. We can cycle the lights on and off, but
the locks on
this
the
is
doors
our job."
with what's potentially there, the locks on these doors aren't going to do us any good. I'm just going to say that right now. They're like, these locks ain't doing nothing for us. But we can stay and watch. And if the glass that we saw on those painting on the graffiti up there is what I think it might be, I think that's the source of the weird lights that people are reporting. And we'll probably see that from here. We can take pictures. We can try to get pictures that I don't know if they'll show anything or not, but I don't think it's a good idea for us to stay inside any of those buildings. That just seems like a bad idea at this point.
Well, I do agree with that. I certainly don't want to be in any of those buildings overnight.
All right, so you guys are going to
Okay, so then she said so Deli looks over at her brother and is trying to like gauge how he's feeling. So you don't even have to say anything, but like what is she sensing from August?
Less talking, more driving.
So she like gets his like total like not in for it, and so she like looks at him and she's like, "How about we just take it every half hour? We'll just do it in half-hour chunks. If it gets to be too much, we'll go."
Oh, fine, I can do that.
Okay.
I want everyone to give me a luck roll.
That is a 25 under 55.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do so. Yeah, Nite will go first, then we'll do Elizabeth, and then John. So the first half hour to an hour, nothing really changes. You guys have rations, or pretty much. I don't know if they would have given you MREs, but they would have given you pretty much food, or at least a budget to get food in preparation for staying here overnight. There's also, like, as the temperatures begin to drop, as it gets closer and closer to that 13 degrees Fahrenheit, there's, like, insulated, there's, like, just blankets and stuff that would, they knew what was going to happen and was given to you guys. So, this is good to come out. So, Elizabeth.
I got a 64 over 35.
Okay. You, at this point, like, it's starting to get later and with not a lot of activity and everything, Deli is having a little bit trouble staying awake, but it doesn't seem like anything's really changing, except it just keeps getting darker, and you guys, as you said, like, kind of turn on the flashlights every once in a while, doing a quick scan of your perimeter. And I'll say, if you guys wanted to position the car to make a quick exit, that is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
like,
probably. I would imagine.
Done that.
Yeah.
I think David's suggestion for the car, since they decided to stay later, is at least on the map. There's kind of that clearing to the
Yes.
side of 4. It would be kind of like back the car into that area, so they're facing a way they can drive out pretty easily, but also
Yes,
have
yep.
a good line of sight to building 3 that seems to be at least of the 2 buildings they examined, seems to be the one with the most interesting things in it.
Yeah, you guys didn't even look at all 4 buildings.
We chickened out after a second. Jeez.
Yeah, but Del, you can feel sleep, just whether it's all the blankets covering you or just the lack of activity. You're kind of getting a little sleepy, and this seems to be like a nervous calm. And John?
I rolled a 21 under 50.
All right, and so for this final hour, it seems that maybe August is getting hungry or something, or maybe knows his sister getting a little tired, and not maybe. You guys have instant coffee that's there with. Maybe you use the cigarette lighter to warm up some metal cups. It takes a little while, but you use that and warm up the water and add the coffee just to keep things going. And you guys sit there as the darkness keeps surrounding you. And the thing is that you guys all hear is the lack of nature. Yes, it's the middle of winter, but doesn't seem any kind of creatures that are making noises, any creatures moving. You don't even hear the sound. You guys knew it wasn't a far ride into here, but it seems like the trees are absorbing any sound of humanity around you, and you don't even hear wind. You don't hear snow, like any kind of sound of maybe snowfall or anything, as you guys just sit there and watch. And maybe as you guys are all getting close to this 4th hour now, let's see, so if it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, around 9:45, everybody sees from the 2nd floor 2 little green flames. And that is where we're going to stop.
That sounds like fun.
Thank you for allowing me to go along.
All
Yes.
right.
And now I expect to hear, I had nightmares, how dare you?
Yeah, this one has felt pretty creepy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you don't have Sheriff Hudson to save you now. Thank you everyone for listening. Join us next week as, we'll find out if these cowards go up the stairs.
We almost
Don't-
didn't stay.
I know. So anyway,
It'll be interesting.
yeah, you guys have a week to think about it.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Alright.
Yay.
I still remember, Nate, you've been playing too much Cthulhu. No, I've just gotten better. Anyway, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time for more Sanity Lost. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah.